Hi, everyone, and welcome again to another interview. And this time we have Kevin Reid here with us. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Christina. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. It is great to see you. And if
Thank
you could just remind me too, and let everyone know who's going to watch this. Where did you go to college and what degrees did you obtain?
I did my undergrad and my grad at Brooklyn College. I got my bachelor's in math education, and I also got my master's in math education. And then I recently graduated from Hunter College and got an extension to teach special education.
Oh, congratulations. Okay.
Thank you.
So, all right. So, when you were at Brooklyn College, what clubs or organizations were you a member of at some point?
I was a member of the greatest fraternity to ever be created, Zeta Beta Tau International Fraternity, Beta Xi chapter at Brooklyn College, Alpha Pi class of extraordinary gentlemen.
All right. So, was there anything else that took up
Um,
all your time besides your classes?
yeah, that took up all my time. I tried to play soccer. I played soccer for a couple of years. Um,
Wait, you
just
tried to play soccer or you did?
I did play soccer
Okay.
on the team. Got to play a couple of minutes every now and then. Um, we had a very good team. I was the moral support of the team.
All right. So, when you were at Brooklyn College, did you have any leadership roles or leadership positions?
Yes, I was a resident assistant, one of the first residence assistants of the residence hall. A lot of civic engagement went on there. And then I was president of my fraternity for 2 years while I was in undergrad and in grad school. And I was also vice president of the Greek Council. You know, we're not gonna go into what happened in the election, but could have been president, but vice president is good enough.
All right. Did you have any other leadership roles, or it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I probably had other leadership roles at the time. I used to do a lot. I was always in the vice president's office for good reasons. Um, Volunteered a lot for orientation and like led a lot of orientation events a lot. But yeah, fun. It's fun.
All right, so you were involved.
Yeah.
So what are you up to now? What have you been doing since you graduated?
Teaching. I've been teaching middle school. I've been teaching sixth grade for 8 years now. I'm not trying to age myself, but I've been teaching since I finished school, and it's been good. Been interesting lately.
Oh yeah, I bet definitely this semester has been, I'm
Oh
sure, very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It's revolutionary.
All right, so speaking of revolutionary, let's talk about some leadership. So who would you say is a leader that you admire and why do you admire them?
A leader that I admire in history is Mansa Sundiata Keita. He was an emperor in Mali. Yeah, he was one of the greatest historical figures that is rarely talked about. He unified all of Western Africa into one kingdom and was one of the most powerful kingdoms, even greater than the Roman Empire.
All right, and so what is it that you most admire?
That he did it all for his people. He saw that we were all one that there's no reason to have all these separate tribes in Africa going against each other. He made peace among them, established trade routes, established commerce, and it's one of, if not the most wealthiest empire that's ever existed, you know. So he did it for the right reasons, his people.
Well, thanks for sharing that. So, what would you say is a trait that you appreciated in a past leader or supervisor, and why did you appreciate that?
My last principal at my old school, she was real. Like she was raw, like real, wore her heart on her sleeve. Every day you saw her give it her all. She led by example. She, like the word principal, a lot of people underestimate what it means to be a principal of the school, you know. You're the standard. Your school is a reflection of who you are. Every decision that's made, every kid in that building, every staff member, every janitor is responsible under you. And then whoever your bosses are, but you're the principal, you're the main person, you're the main focus. So she was in the best way possible, because I consider myself a dog. She was a dog, you know. Like I like Michael Jordan was a dog. Me and her used to always talk about Jordan, the way he was a dog, the way he motivated, the way he led, the way he carried himself, the way he carried his legacy. So a leader got to be a dog.
All right, let's talk about that a little bit more. What do you mean a leader has to be a dog? Because when you say dog, that can mean so many different things. So, and you gave Michael Jordan as an example. So, what do you mean?
It starts with the attitude of protecting your territory, protecting what you stand for, protecting what you believe in. It's like a dog will protect his bed or protect his territory. And then loyalty. If I'm a leader, I'm gonna be loyal to my crew, loyal to whoever follows you, loyal to yourself, loyal to your goals, loyal to your mission. And the dog is the most loyal. That's that's the most loyal species on this planet, you know. Um, and then the last thing about a dog is the bark is nice, but a dog got to be able to bite sometimes. You know, sometimes when you play fight, when you're a dog and you play fight with your dog brother, you bite him a little bit, don't really hurt sometimes, but sometimes you with your pack and then another pack shows up and you got to be the first dog in there to bite and defend your pack. You know, and sometimes people don't like to get bitten. I've I've experienced that when you lead and you make certain decisions, not everybody is gonna like those decisions, but the dog probably didn't want to have to bite another dog at the time, and he had to.
So, I'm glad you said that because I was going to say, all right, we're talking about dogs. Well, I asked you about a dog, but we're talking about dogs, and you explained it. And I was going to say, all right, so for us as humans, what's an example of a a person who had to bite like a dog? What? Because like I said, we're talking about dogs. So let's talk about people. What is an example of a time, either for you or maybe since we were talking about that principal, that maybe the principal did something that could be compared to when a dog bites?
When the dog bites, she bit me. That's why I don't work there no more.
Oh.
No, but you know, she bit me. She bit me in a sense where it was like she put a lot of pressure on me, you know, because when you're a lead dog, you're the alpha, but you have, you know, your cabinet that supports you. And I felt like I wasn't ready for the level of expectation at the time. And then when the expectations came, I crumbled. You know, like she had very high expectations for me, put me on a pedestal. That's the way I like to say, you know what I'm saying? I put myself on the pedestal all the time, so I get why people do it. But I just felt like it was too high and I wasn't ready for it. But I'm ready now.
So, do you think that there was anything that the principal could have done to help you be prepared for the high expectations?
She did everything. She did everything she had to do.
Mm.
I felt like now in hindsight, looking at it 2020, she did everything right. She did everything she was supposed to do. She let me go when I was you know, it's like when another animal reference. I love animals. It's like when the bird is ready to fly out the nest. She pushed me out the nest and she said, "Let me see if this bird gonna fly." Well,
Okay,
actually, she didn't push me out the nest. I jumped out the nest, but she was like, "Go ahead, jump."
so did you fly?
I'm spreading my wings. It still feels like I'm on my way down, but I'm starting to catch the wind, and I'm spreading my wings. So we'll see how the story ends. There's water
Yeah.
at the bottom anyway, so I'll be good.
You said there's water at the bottom?
There's water at the bottom, so where I land, and then I learn how to swim, and then I can fly.
So you're not worried.
I'm not worried, is what I'm saying. I'm not worried. I know I'm gonna fly. I
Okay.
was meant to fly.
Did you ever share any of this with that principal? Like, I appreciate what you did, even though you bit me or pushed me out of the nest.
No, we haven't had that conversation yet. I think it's predominantly just remote learning is a lot. So I know that she's dealing with a lot, and I'm also dealing with a lot. But she's a mentor of mine. I've reached out a couple times. We're gonna hang out. Oh, you getting jealous? The mentor. Sorry, I can't help it. I noticed.
No, I was thinking. I was like this. I was thinking. So my thought was, so it was a tough time, but you still speak to her. You still consider her a mentor. You still seek her out for mentoring.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so even though it was tough, you didn't say, "Oh, I don't like what you did. I don't like what you say. Get out of my life."
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely, definitely wasn't that kind of vibe at all. It was more on the, like I said, like it was play fighting, bit me kind of hard, but she knew that I could take it. You know what I mean? She knew that I was gonna be able to land on my feet, and like she's still there for guidance.
So it's not always compliments and fun times and easy going when it comes to having a mentor.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I feel like a mentor gotta be able to tell you the rough part of the sponge, give you, it's some crust in this dish. You gotta buff it out, It can't be all smiles and hugs and kisses.
Right, right, right. All right. So let's talk about, you were talking about right now. So what traits do you think a good leader should have right now in order to lead their people properly?
The number one thing right now in this environment, in this world, is understanding. You got to be able to understand that not all men are created equal. That is the biggest lie. Everybody is different. you know, Being able to understand that Elon Musk can design a Tesla. Not everybody could do that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can build a Kia furniture. Not everybody can do everything everyone does, but when you expect everyone to be the same, when you expect equality as opposed to equity, the equation is never going to balance because it's going to be false on one of the variables. You know, so if you could understand all your people, different people, any people, that's the number one thing. The next thing would be adaptability. We saw 2020, like Tom Brady plays for the Tampa Bay Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, adapt. If it's not working, being able to identify if it's not working, throw it in the garbage. Let's move on. If it's working, giving it enough time to see if it's work. Like, it's, you can't say this is what we did last year, so we're gonna do it again. That's impossible. Impossible. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, last year we did these events. We can't expect to do the same events every year. Because if I was there last year, I'm gonna be like, I did this last year, and I come the next year, I'm gonna be like, I did this again. I'm gonna be like, why am I gonna come back and do the same thing again? You know, so being able to adapt and create. And I think the most important skill for a leader in 2020 or in 2020 for the future is communication. I feel like we live in a world where we think we're very connected. We think we communicate. Like you'll see a picture of me on Facebook and feel like you saw me. It'll give you the idea. Oh, I just saw Kevin the other day. He posted, but haven't seen you in 10 years. You know, that's the reality. You're quarantined, you're on your phone, you're experiencing this reality through your eyes, but you're just home at the end of the day. And are you communicating? Like, is it just a family group chat, or are you guys calling each other? You know, are you communicating with your teachers? Like, I have a team of teachers that we communicate, but we don't really communicate. There's so many emails, there's so many text messages, there's so much, but one word, one syllabus, one comma is in the wrong place. And I'm assuming that you understood it because you're a human with a degree and you went to college and this, that, and the third. And yeah, you should be able to do these things. But not everybody processes at the same rate. Not everybody goes back to the first point of understanding. Not everybody can read a 10-page paper just because all they did in college was write 10-page papers.
So all of this that you were just talking about, the understanding, the adaptability, do you think that, and the communication, do you think that your time as an RA, your time with Zeta Beta Tau impacted what you now recognize as traits for leaders?
Absolutely.
And how?
The first thing was the RA. It taught me so much. That was the first time that I was really responsible for a lot of people, you know? Like once the training started, at first, okay, we get a free room, it's cool, you know, bust a couple parties and stuff like that. But after the experience dealing with everything, going through the trainings, if this, then that, and then there was a situation that happened that is like, it was like, yeah, it's not everybody could do this. And I had fraternity brothers that wanted to apply in RA and they at me when they wouldn't get it. And I'm like, yo, it's not for everyone. I'm not gonna situation where I know you're not gonna be successful. You know what I mean? You gotta have certain skills, certain attributes where you're not gonna cut it. So I definitely, it's a lot. And then with Zeta Beta Tau, a big, my internet is this, you can hear me? Good? Okay. A big thing that we used to pride ourselves is we don't make men, we make men better. And that's something that I always wholeheartedly believed. I used to feel like I could improve. I can get a young college age male of any race, any gender, not any gender, any race, any religion, any right, and teach him core values, you know, intellectual awareness, social responsibility, brotherly love, integrity, and they could wholeheartedly believe that and become something, you know, like having the ability to develop leaders, having the ability to watch them grow and become successful, and notice the things that the impact that you had. You know, it's like when I teach my kids, I know what I could tell when I taught them something, and then they know that because they didn't know it before, and I could see it in their face, and they're like, oh, that makes sense. And I was like, I know I taught you that. I saw you learn it. I saw you develop that skill. And then look, this is the test. You reap the benefits of your work. So it's the same thing in the classroom, in the meeting room, you know, developing those skills. It's everywhere.
And I saw you develop those skills. You said I saw the students develop the skills, and I was like, yes, I saw that too. So yeah, I want to thank you for sharing, you know, for answering the questions and sharing your memories and your experiences, and you know, just talking about leadership and also like, you know, what are you up to these days? You know, with it being 2020 and teaching and
Almost.
I appreciate that you're going, you know, is it virtual? Is it in person? Is it, you know, and having to teach through, I mean, we're just talking, I'm interviewing you, but I'm not teaching. I mean, what's something that you're teaching right now? What's a topic?
I'm teaching ratios. I'm teaching the absolute sixth grade backbone right now. They're called rational numbers because they're ratios. A lot of people don't know that. So the reason kids don't understand fractions, the reason kids don't understand decimals, it's 9 times out of 10 because they don't understand ratios.
And you're teaching that through what platform? Like through Zoom, or you have something else that the school uses?
We have Zoom and we have this other platform called Go Formative, but it's the equivalent of, you know, a paper packet, you know, in
Okay.
the classroom pretty much. There's a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of ingenuity in remote learning right now. There's not a lot of doing things differently. Everybody is trying to, it's like NFL is a copycat league. Everybody trying to see what everybody else is seeing, what everybody else is doing, and then try to follow that. Nobody is like, I don't see anybody like really changing the game.
All right. So basically you're teaching, you said sixth graders?
Sixth graders.
You're teaching sixth graders ratios, rational numbers, basically through Zoom.
Yeah. Through Zoom, through chat. I be chatting kids in the Zoom chat, writing whole writing whole dissertations in the chat. It's crazy.
Well, thank you for doing that because not everybody could do that.
I know. I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, just teaching it in a classroom where the students are in front of you, it's not easy, I'm sure.
Okay, so that was easier for me. For me, it was easier because it was easier to connect. Once you connect with the kids and they respect you, that's the number one thing. Once you connect with them and they respect you, all that other nonsense that most teachers complain about is out the room. You know, so now remote learning is making it extra difficult for me in particular because I'm a people person. I'm a connection person. I need to be. If I was standing next to half of these kids when I'm telling, if I could be telling the same thing that I'm telling them on Zoom, you know what I'm saying? This conversation is easy because I know you, you know me. But if we didn't know each other, you know, certain reactions, certain things, it's like, you know, what was that? What was that? You know, what you looking at? You looking at me? You looking at the camera? You looking at your keyboard? You on your phone? So there's so many barriers in the communication where it's like I'm teaching kids ratios. They don't know what a ratio is, and they misspell it. And now I have a kid talking to me about rats, you know, and then I'm mad at the kid. I'm like, yo, what you talking about rats for? Well, I was like, yo, you said rats. Why am I getting in trouble? You know, so it's like things like that happen where it makes it so hard. But if I was next to him, I said, no, I didn't say rats. I said ratio instead of saying rats. I could have seen that easier. You know, it's little things, everything.
Yeah. Wow. I know I don't teach ratios, but you know, I see how some of the things that we do, you know, how we've taken some things that were in person, and of course, it's definitely easier in person. So we put those things through Zoom, but then everybody's doing Zoom, so we're trying to figure out other ways to do things, and so it's definitely challenging. So again, I want to thank you for doing. I mean that's to me, like when I'm thinking sixth graders, period. Sixth graders, I'm like, woo! And then sixth graders ratios, I'm like, oh. So yeah, so yeah, so thank you for sharing that, and again, thank you for you know, thank you for taking the time to talk about the things that we did, and to anybody who's watching this, we'll have more as usual. More student leaders, more people who were student leaders at some point, and we'll talk about some other things, and I'll catch you then, everybody.
Bye.